all your dreams. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Shadows try to hide, no place for them to bide. Light will pierce you through, reveal what is true. Running from your fears, can't escape the sears. Truth will hunt you down, tear apart your crown. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. We are back on track and ready to attack. I'm going to try to do a bit more shows this week than in previous weeks. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm feeling completely and fully recovered from my recent medical problems. I have a host of, vampire blood appointments and other doctor's appointments still ahead of me, but they're largely just to check in and make sure that the bionic brain repairs are holding. So I'm feeling very positive, though, and my long-term prognosis, again, is very, very good. We'll take a moment to recognize and welcome in the live chat. Moth Loves Detracting is here with one for the gold before I was even on screen. Good to see you, Moth Loves Detracting. And thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Moth Loves Detracting is a longtime show supporter. Much, much appreciated. Pardon me. The cold and flu season is upon us. And there is now at least one person in my household with a cold. And I think I'm getting it. You know, if you have children and you send them to school, make them wash their hands when they get in, the minute they get in. And that cuts down on a lot of it, but it's still, no matter what I do, I'm going to get it. You know, I'm carrying them to bed, or I'm just giving him a hug and he sneezed all over me. You got to love cold and flu season, but hopefully, I think we're only 74 days away from spring. So that is good news. So tonight, I thought we would take sort of a road not very well traveled. And that is this UFO whistleblower, UFO alien crash retrieval whistleblowers kind of a road. Because it's very important when we examine people that are making these claims of government, the United States government, and this is largely a United States phenomenon. You don't really hear too much about crash retrievals in other countries, but it's long been part of the UFO lore and mythology. And there's people with testimony claiming that they took part in alien crash retrievals or UFO crash retrievals of alien technology, and nature. So it's important when we look at people like David Grush, who, by the way, his entire narrative is collapsing. David Grush, it's been 953 days since David Grush made his initial claims, and he still has not provided a single solitary shred of evidence. And what's important to note is that when David Grush first came out, with his story, the first thing I noticed is the similarity to other people who had come out with very similar stories. And knowing full well the history of those other people, I knew that years and years and years and years went by with these people making these claims, and really none of them have ever put forth any evidence to support their claims other than their stories. And I get it. I get hammered on Twitter constantly, every day. Oh, well, testimony is evidence, Stephen. People accept testimony as evidence in court. Okay. But when you're talking about something as fantastical and sensational as the government retrieving and hiding alien technology, even alien bodies, even live aliens, I think you really need some kind of form of evidence to back up your claims, or you're just another person telling stories. So Dave Grush's narrative is basically it's shot to shit. And I notice there's a thread on Twitter. People are still arguing with me. Well, you can't see the evidence, Stephen, because it's classified. Well, what about Eric Burleson? He's working for Eric Burleson. Eric Burleson is paying him. And when asked in a Spaces, Eric Burleson had to admit David Grush couldn't show him any evidence, or hasn't shown him any evidence. And he's been working for Eric Burleson, I think, over a year, maybe 2 years now. He's been working for Eric Burleson. And we know that the man was institutionalized in a mental institution. I believe not once, but twice. He's free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. And the original narrative was that they were attacking him for talking about aliens, so they removed his clearance. No, it seems like he got his clearance removed for basically dereliction of duty and being a threat to national security. Had nothing to do with him talking about UFOs or aliens. So the narrative that we were given with Dave Grush has completely fallen apart. It's been years. Dave Grush, when he first came out, I have these other 40 whistleblowers who supplied me with all kinds of information. They're all going to come out. They're all going to show their evidence. It's a bluff. And it's also important to note that what you need for this UFO alien crash retrieval scam to work is that you need less than credible people with no scruples, no morals, no conscience. Basically, you need a scumbag facilitator. And the scumbag facilitator is the person who does no fact checking, who doesn't demand evidence of the person making the claims, who gives them softball interviews that are usually prearranged. It's kind of like wrestling. Like, I'll ask you about the alien and what it looked like, and you say this, and then that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. So tonight we're going to talk about one Clifford Stone, who, by the way, I used to believe this guy. I really did used to believe this guy. A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I once believed him. And another common trait of these UFO whistleblowers is this. When they first come out with their story seems believable. The first versions of the stories that they come out with are very sort of grounded. Does that make sense? In other words, it's not too fantastical. They don't get too fantastical yet. So Clifford Stone's initial story was, I was in the Army, and of course, this is the very quick version. I'm just trying to make a point here. His initial story was, I was in the Army. I got assigned to this special unit, and I was sent out with a group of people, and there I witnessed the crash of what could only have been an alien spaceship. And I even saw that they were recovering bodies. And somehow the initial story, which kind of has been lost to history, I have to say, because his subsequent tellings of the story keep they just kept getting more fantastical and more fantastical and more fantastical as time went on. And there's a reason for that. I call it UFO disease. If you come out with an initial story, even if the whole UFO world loves it, you're only going to get so many bookings at UFO conferences telling that same story. And let's be clear, Clifford Stone was a fixture at UFO conferences, UFO live events, in documentaries. He was featured in many, I believe, on the early, I guess you could call it, podcast circuit. Telling his story, but as time went on, people get tired of the initial story. So then his initial story, which was seemed very believable to me at first, got grander and grander. And before you know it, he had superpowers, and he was telepathic, and he was assigned to communicate with the alien beings that they recovered that were alive and translate what the aliens were saying for the higher ups in the military. And then later, he even claimed that he was stationed at a military base translating the alien, communications. And he felt so bad for the alien that he helped the alien escape. And then the ET kind of phoned home somehow, and a spaceship came and picked up the alien after he let him out. And then later, it gets even weirder, because then he started talking about more superpowers that he had, and talking about his past lives as all these different famous people. And the Clifford Stone story just devolved into this completely spectacular, hokey, unbelievable bullshittery that you kind of recognize right away, like, oh, this guy's a bullshitter. Also important to note that Mr. Clifford Stone claimed to be a part of all kinds of secret, secret projects for the United States military. But subsequent to his initial storytelling, some researchers found some of his military records, and it turns out that Clifford Stone was nothing more than a low-level clerk typist. And in his entire time in the military, only achieved a rank of sergeant. And no proof has ever been put forth that he was part of any special access projects or black budget projects or secret projects. And by the way, he could have released his detailed military records, which would have proved that he was part of, let's just say, high-level military intelligence operations or high-level military operations. He never did. And the only records that could be found basically say that Clifford Stone was nothing more than a low-level clerk typist in a secretarial pool. In other words, he was a paper pusher. He never went on any missions for the military, near as anybody can tell. But don't let things like available facts and evidence get in the way of a good bullshit alien story that you could sell. Now, I mentioned that the way that this scam works, you need a facilitator. You need somebody to pull the story out from the person. And also, these are the people that always profit, usually the most. It's interesting to note that in the David Grush case, it appears that David Grush was not paid for some of the interviews he did. At least that's what I'm told by a good source. So the people that were profiting the most from the Dave Grush story were the people interviewing him, people like Jesse Michaels and Ross Coulthard, who are scumbags. They don't have any scruples. They don't have any conscience. They don't care if the story is true, as long as they can make a buck off of it. And the same can be said for Clifford Stone, because he would basically be used by people like Stephen Greer and Kerry Cassidy, crazy Kerry Cassidy from Project Camelot. And this should inform you that maybe this guy's not credible, because a lot of people call Project Camelot Project Scamelot. Kerry Cassidy from Project Scamelot has been known to use convicted criminals, up to and including court-martialed child predators, to tell alien stories, convicted murderers to tell alien stories, and more. And this is so common in the UFO community, and it's often just glazed over or not talked about. How many of these people promoting these narratives are actually convicted felons, convicted criminals? They can't get a job anywhere, so they suddenly become alien whistleblowers. I guess that's more lucrative than working at McDonald's as a convicted felon. Don't know. So I found an old interview, and I thought it would be helpful and an excellent history lesson because these established narratives, UFO, it's an alien spaceship, it crashes, the government goes to go get it, and there they recover alien technology and free energy technology and anti-gravity technology, even recover alien biologics. These are all stories that have been told since, near as I can tell, at least the 1970s when Len Stringfield started promoting these narratives. And it's interesting how similar these narratives are. And also, it's very important that we recognize and understand that the United States government does have crash retrieval programs, but they don't have anything to do with alien spaceships, alien technology, alien bodies. No, the United States government, as well as many other governments, have foreign technology divisions. So Clifford Stone hitched his wagon to something called Project Moondust, which was a real program from the Cold War era that was designed basically to pick up Russian space technology. So there are United States government crash retrieval programs. It's always good to give people a little bit of truth while you're lying to them. And a lot of these grifters, scammers, and hoaxers, they hitch their wagon to established real things. It adds credibility to the story because people could then go research and find, oh, Project Moondust, that was a real project. Yes. And Project Moondust had to do with recovering foreign technology. So, in other words, if the Soviets in the 1960s or 70s launched a rocket and then the booster rocket fell into the ocean, let's say, as long as it didn't fall in Russian territory, if it fell in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, yes, the United States would rush and try to pick that technology up. They would take it back to Wright-Patterson or some other place where they study foreign technology and try to back engineer, see what technology the Soviets were using, see what they were using for heat shielding, whatever. It is a established fact that the United States government will go and pick up foreign technology that crashes. Another great example would be the Chinese spy balloon. We've all seen the pictures. They went out with a boat, they picked it up after it crashed into the ocean, and they took it somewhere to analyze it. This is the truth that a lot of these UFO scammers and grifters are piggybacking onto to make their stories more credible, more believable. So it's important to note that these people will often use the truth in their narratives so that it lends some credibility. I know many people back in the day when Clifford Stone first sort of made the scene, who would communicate to me and say, like, I did some research and Project Moondust and Moonshadow, those are real programs. And Clifford Stone is telling us about being involved in them. Except one problem, there's no proof he was a part of any of those programs. He never provided any proof or evidence. And I forgot, Moths Love Attracting. I don't think I read your super chat. So praise the cash, my friend, says Moth Love Attracting. I will remind you, we're a viewer supported show. We have a simple goal of 20 super chats of 5 or more tonight. I'll be calling out every single person in the live chat who offers some support either through super chat. You could send a PayPal pledge. If you're viewing us on Kick, you can, of course, send a gifted sub. Send me some kicks, or become a subscriber, and I will give you a big shout out and a big thank you. We have a critical need for funds lately. This taking 2 weeks off basically destroyed our YouTube channel. Well, that and the false copyright claims of one Corey Good. So Moth Loves Attracting says, praise the cash, my friends, and thank you for that. And thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Also, I just want to put on the record, Corey Good falsely copyright claimed us, and two strikes destroyed our recommends, I believe, because as soon as those two strikes hit, our view count went to shit. But I hate people that blame other people. You know, maybe I'm not doing enough shows. Maybe the shows aren't good enough, interesting enough to get people to tune in, and that's why our views are down. Could be, but it's pretty coincidental, and I can look at it on a calendar. Here's where the strikes came in. Here's when the views went to shit. So I'm trying to get this hamster wheel rolling again. I would appreciate the financial support in the form of a super chat, a kick, gifted sub, becoming a subscriber, become a YouTube channel member. I'll give you a big shout out. But now we're going to get into the actual video. I'll put my fair use banner up. This is good because it's about an hour long, and hopefully we'll make it through the whole thing. I'm going to put my fair use banner up because Kerry Cassidy's retarded and may try to copyright claim me over using this video. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public and we're critiquing the video that we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and is certainly allowable by law. Before we begin the video, I want to take a moment to give a big shout out, thank you, to Esoteric Wilcockism. He just became a YouTube channel member. Now they get some extra goodies, the members only section, and you get a YouTube channel member badge, priority reply in the comments, and the live chat. Welcome, new member Esoteric Wilcockism. Welcome. And then we've got another one from, another bit of support from Indigo Horizon, gifted 1 True Seekers membership. And this, my friends, is why you got to smash that subscribe button. Do it now, because one person just won a free gifted membership courtesy of the kindness, generosity, and support of another one of our members, Indigo Horizon. So when people gift these memberships, if you're not a subscriber, you can't win one. You must be a subscriber, but not yet a YouTube channel member. On the average broadcast, 5 to 10 people get a free membership, but you must be a subscriber. So smash that subscribe button. And thank you, Indigo Horizon, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much, much appreciated. Let's go. And here's Crazy Kerry Cassidy from Project Scam-A-Lot.
Story that's believable, or you want the truth? What's going on? How much does our government know? And when did they know it?
You were the interface between the government or the military and alien visitors.
Yeah, somebody, by the way, somebody mentioned earlier that this guy looks like he worked at Ace Hardware. He doesn't look like a big bad military guy, does he? But let me ask you a question. Does he look like a clerk typist to you? Somebody that would be a paper pushing clerk typist? Yeah, he does to me. And look at that. Mr. Mike D138. I'm going to have to find that clip. Says Wilcox spilt water on his laptop on the last stream. It was hilarious. Well, thank you for letting me know. We'll have to look for that. And thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Big support already, and the show barely has begun. Thank you all. Troll. You're doing it wrong, Stephen. You're supposed to say, okay, let's see some support right now, and stare creepily at the camera. Thank you, Troll. Longtime show supporter and member for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we have DM Andy's been a member for 22 months. Wow, what a great, almost 2 years of support from DM Andy. Thank you for that. Nice to catch a live stream. It's past midnight here. Oh, you must be in a different time zone, but welcome and thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It's much appreciated.
Would that be correct?
That'd be correct. There's a price to pay when you start talking. And I don't want to go into that too much because when you start reliving it, okay?
I see.
Yeah, he hasn't paid. The only price that Clifford Stone paid was making money at UFO conferences. That was the price he paid, getting in documentary deals, getting a book deal. That's the price that he paid. And also, somebody in our Discord earlier said, the only thing that Clifford Stone ever retrieved is money from stupid people's pockets. And that is a very good statement, and I believe that. We've showed you the book. The book is basically a fairy tale, but
Ah,
he sold that book for years. It's still for sale on Amazon. I guess his family is now getting the money from that. I don't know.
you have no idea what I'm seeing in my mind right now, just talking about the tip of the iceberg. 2 or 3 times I got out.
And by the way, just a cautionary note for people that think that being a UFO scammer or alien whistleblowing grifter is a good career move. All of these guys died penniless and broke. And Clifford Stone was no different. In fact, when he died, his family basically had to go to charity, and I believe that they couldn't afford Clifford Stone. There was no money to do a funeral, so basically, yeah, he died penniless and broke. I'm told his family's free to correct me if I'm wrong. Dying penniless and broke is kind of a theme of UFO scammers and alien whistleblower grifters. So, cautionary note. And, we see Corey Good just declared bankruptcy. These guys are always broke and desperate for money when their scams don't go that way. And they're not the kind of people that would go, well, this scam's not working out. I'm going to go get a real job. They never do.
Out of the UFO field. But you want to tell you a little secret? You can't. There are people out there, and I'm one of them. It's not about money.
It's not about money, but buy my book.
Going out into the cosmos, visiting other solar systems, other planets outside of our own. But when we do this, it's going to be that we're going to have a spiritual heightening. In other words,
add the spiritual component to your scam. Make the
Clifford Stone. I'm very happy to be
make
able
it a bigger
to
tent.
interview you here today, and there's a great deal of respect for what you've done and for your courage in coming forward. And
what tremendous courage telling bullshit stories to fucking UFO nerds. Great.
Thank you, man.
So courageous of you.
So we're here actually in a really amazing place. This is the Roswell UFO Museum.
I agree,
Do you
Patty.
mind telling us why?
Yeah, and Clifford lived in Roswell.
Well, the United States Army sent me here. I'm
Roswell, New
retired
Mexico.
military.
Okay.
So as being retired military, you're always subject to recall.
Sure.
And you're always subject to possibly being asked things as a consultant.
Okay.
Well, I retired as a sergeant first class.
He looks
Now,
penniless and broke here too.
A clerk.
Yeah.
I understand. That was a cover story.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. You had a real life.
Oh, my cover story was that I was a clerk typist. I was really going on secret missions the whole time. That was just a cover story that I was a typist in the Army for my entire Army career.
In the military, you had an actual mission. The only time that this other stuff came into play is when they had a UFO incident that was to occur, and you were in the immediate area of that. And I can tell you in '65 in Vietnam, there was a base camp there tried to open fire on a UFO. At the very minute they tried to do that, none of their weapons worked.
What? They tried to shoot the aliens?
So.
In Vietnam, they tried to shoot the alien spaceships, but their weapons didn't work.
4 years. And yes, it was 4 years. Records reflect, I think, 37 months.
All right, Arlene, you have a good night.
Over there.
Thank you.
It's right at 4 years. GDY being.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I never heard that before. I did. I'll tell you this, though. I did once own the same model Corvette that Bob Lazar did. And I didn't do that on purpose. It just kind of happened because one of my friends had a classic Corvette. It was a 1984, same model Bob had in his famous videos, except mine was white, and I think his was black, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a long time.
Very, very scary, and those are very, very tense moments.
As a communicator, you were called out just in terms of your military life.
Yeah, he translated the aliens telepathically. So he's got superpowers, guys.
It was probably about the age of 19 or 20.
We've got a UFO down. Quick, bring the typologists and the bulky typewriter. Yes.
There are things that have went on.
Archaic Revival's cover story is that he's a dumbass.
Still in the military that did not face only 7. And that was military.
Welcome home, Clifford Stone.
Into an incident where we had a situation that we weren't told exactly where it was, but I know we landed at Benoit, because when I went back then it was a sign. That's where we landed.
Benoit.
That's in Vietnam.
Oh.
And
Let me turn the audio up a little bit. Somebody's saying it's a little low.
It was Benoit because it was the same when I went back.
And I apologize for the audio quality. This
This
is
was an incident that
early YouTube.
Was it a crash?
Very early YouTube.
Or was it a visit?
We saw the entities.
Okay.
And this involved with us going in to try to extract an aircraft. And we did. We cut it up in, I think, about 7 pieces.
They cut up an alien spaceship.
No. This was a B-52.
Oh, they cut up a B-52. Okay, that makes sense.
Didn't crash normal.
Is this a time travel experiment?
No. This was a craft that was shot down. Everybody was killed on. Everybody was dead on board the B-52.
Shot down by the visitors?
Well, they were on a bombing mission over. I have no way of knowing this, but I would assume on a bombing mission over North Vietnam.
Okay, so total speculation.
Was as a result of anti-aircraft fire at the B-52. I mean, the damage was that type.
Oh, so we not only retrieved aliens, he retrieved our own technology, right?
Where I said we went from there by helicopter. But it was just like some giant hand had grabbed the plane out of midair and just set it on the jungle floor.
How did she get the audio perfect, but not before 5 minutes in? Okay. We're going to take a moment to thank a kind and generous benefactor, Gloomy Danger, saying quite correctly and very good point, aliens weren't advanced enough to make computer translator. They needed a psychic. Yes, apparently they needed this guy with his psychic powers to tell the rest of the military what the aliens were talking about, right? And only he could communicate with them. So, of course, he made himself the hero of the story. He's so important in all of the army, only he could telepathically communicate with the and you know, I don't think that he ever, maybe he does in this video. I don't recall that he ever actually like explained why he was the only person in the military that was able to communicate with the aliens, right? But thank you, Gloomy Danger, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Did you see something flying very fast that you didn't talk about because of lack of evidence? I don't know what that's about. Let's just continue with the video.
And that's what we were interested in.
Oh.
We didn't know, you're not told. When we got on the plane in the States to leave to go over there, we were told we were going to Florida. When we landed in Oakland, we knew we weren't going to go to Florida. But then you went ahead, you was given a little plastic bag. You had to cut U.S. Army off. You had to cut your name tag.
Oh yeah, can't have the aliens knowing who's grabbing the bodies, right?
Every item that could identify you went into that plastic bag.
Yeah, and here's where it starts sounding like a James Bond spy novel,
held
right?
for us there at Benoit, but that was held.
Yeah, I don't remember him ever explaining why only he could communicate with the aliens.
The event occurred.
Yeah, why is it always elderly people who might have a memory problem? Good point.
There was
the aliens retrieved his Depends undergarments and his knee braces.
I just put down my thoughts.
Okay.
But anyhow,
yes, this interview is from 2007. Arcade.
I went ahead.
I believe it's from 2007.
And I started to play games of tic-tac-toe.
Never gonna apologize.
Went outside
to Bob Lazar. Never.
Took the paper with me, wadded it up, put it in my pocket. When they found that piece of paper, and remember, all it was on it was just little games of tic-tac-toe.
Right.
Immediately,
telekinesis.
The guy that I always called the colonel was always
telepathism was such a myth during the Cold War.
Knocked the cigar out of my mouth and started to cuss at me profusely.
Yeah, she looks pretty fucking rough today, Patty. She looks like a beat-up old crackhead bitch now. She looks like a beat-up old crackhead now.
You didn't take paper in there. You took nothing in there. And everything was in there was the state.
I don't know. I've heard that they're still doing it, but it's years after they said it would be released.
That I wrote was immediately put into a briefcase, was taken out of there by special courier. And even though I wrote it, I was no longer cleared to see it anymore.
Grandpa's talking about aliens and reading people's minds again. Too much prune juice.
You write things sometimes.
Yes.
that you didn't even know you wrote. Yeah, you did.
I'm going to check in with the Kick Live chat, call out any support over there. So let's get some Kick support, friends.
Greater understanding of some of the stuff I'm doing. Paul can tell you I do a whole lot of stuff as far as downloading. But you know what?
Oh, he's getting downloads too.
I don't have to read every page, but I'll scan every page. And while I'm scanning, through me, they can pick up on everything that's there. And it's all old news to them.
Sure.
I don't know why, but there's apparently nothing in my activity feed on Kick.
Some things that are
why is that?
Bemusing to them, because we're heading in the right direction, but we don't have the right I dotted. And if you know anything about mathematical formulas, we'll have things in reverse. But this right here sometimes
nothing in their Kick activity feed. That's weird.
Is this a good, because you're being driven to do this?
So it's fascinating that we don't think of Vietnam and
no support to call out.
Time that we would be also dealing with.
Yes, he made himself the big hero, of course.
They truly were told to call them helicopters.
He did this to earn enough money to move out of the nursing home. It's tough out there.
You go in and put old Occam's razor in there, and you eliminate to the lowest denominator. UFOs can exist.
Yeah, there was just somebody in my live chat saying they were from there that wanted to debate me when it comes out. Apparently it's still coming out. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be something very earthly. NSA went ahead and would call UFOs when we were monitoring communications with the Soviet Union. But they always qualified that in hopes that with the initiation of the Sunshine Act, later to become the Freedom of Information Act, that they would not be subject to those acts by saying 7 UFOs.
That's pretty funny, Arcade Revival.
Location and site. But when they'd say 7 UFOs, in parentheses, they would put probably balloons.
I'm pretty cynical. I don't think any of them are credible at this point.
That
if they had evidence, I would consider them credible, but nobody ever has evidence. They have stories
at 1700
and books to sell and documentaries to sell.
Balloons can't do that.
Right.
I always got amused at that because even as a kid,
and always very fantastical stories with no backup. Oh, we observed a craft doing 7,000 miles an hour. Come on, how do you know it was doing 7,000 miles an hour to begin with, right? And wouldn't there be like radar tapes that could confirm that, or some sensor data that could confirm that incredible level of speed? And again, with the usual UFO talking points, these things defied the laws of physics. Well, do you have any proof they defied the laws of physics? Can you show me a physicist that observed all the incredible data and evidence you have and confirm for us they defied the laws of physics? Well, no, but if I say it enough, stupid people will believe it.
People would say, I don't believe in ghosts. However, this happened.
Sure.
Tell a perfectly good ghost story. With me, I very early on knew that to deny the reality of UFOs and other phenomena that occurs would be denying myself.
So as a communicator, you're definitely
you don't always tell the others what's going on. Remember I told you feel it?
You feel what they feel and they feel what you feel.
And
so
you don't always
they communicate with emotions, apparently.
Address it. Because one of the things that you may feel like, if they're saying that they are a guest, if our military is saying, well, this is one of our guests, they're not treating that entity as a guest. And what's happening is that you are
sure, but a lot of people send me stupid shit like birds and balloons and satellites.
Situation, I even helped one of them escape, and that right there was.
Oh, there you go. He helped one of the aliens escape, friends.
I'm curious what went on when you dealt with that. Was it?
Yeah, maybe not.
What kind of an entity was it? And I understand that they're being held prisoner, but how was it that you were able? And in fact, Dan Bursch talks about the same thing.
Yeah,
Well,
there we go. Some other guy with no
I don't know if it was
evidence.
Stargate or what.
That's the super duper prover maneuver. This other guy I interviewed talked about the same stuff you're talking about. So you both must be telling the truth. When one idiot that has no evidence is telling a story, and along comes another idiot with no evidence telling a similar story, it doesn't mean that the stories are true. This is really, really flawed logic.
In order, on the inside where we had this entity, if we were to, and
Was he an extra on
There's a
Green
tape.
Acres?
that talks about this, which gives a whole lot more detail. But we went ahead, and if they were to try to extract this entity from inside where we were at, then there'd have been people killed. And
Or murdered?
this entity would not accept that. And you could feel you could feel what it felt. That's the best way to put it. And I'm trying to tell this without going into any real certain details. But I convinced.
Yeah,
the
I
person
forgot.
that
I
was
got
called
a
Colonel,
silent keyboard. I have to hook it
and
up.
all
Sorry.
throughout, that's what I always called him. We went ahead, and I said, he needs to show me something, but everybody has to be cleared from here. It's just got to be me and him. And everybody went ahead, left. There was one Spec 5 that stayed there to help me, and I said, "You're going to cut this screen fence back here, or the storm fence, and we can get in trouble for that." I says, "Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking you to just drop off the bolt cutters and then beat feet." Well, he didn't. He went ahead and he cut the wires for me, and we got the entity outside.
Okay, so apparently all you need to get an alien to be able to escape from a top secret military facility is a pair of bolt cutters so you could cut the fence. And then the alien could just run through the hole in the fence. This is so fucking stupid. If there really was an alien in military, I don't know, possession, wouldn't there be higher security than just a fence that you have to cut to get an alien out? This is, again, an add-on. He never told this story until years later after he first came out with his initial stories. Then suddenly he's helping an alien escape from a military base. And his explanation for how they did it is stupid, childish, and moronic. Well, we just cut the fence, and then we could get the alien out of the building and just let him run through the fence, the hole in the fence.
By the time they found out that we had the entity outside the perimeter, they went ahead and was very upset. And now they were even to the point where they even tried to shoot the entity. But the entity was now in a position where it was a bright, bright, bright light that came down. And I didn't even get to see the craft. And maybe it was because I just wasn't looking. But all of a sudden, this entity was there, then it wasn't.
E.T. phoned home,
of course,
and then they came and picked him
I was
up.
called the colonel. He went ahead and told me I'd be court-martialed. And we're going to overlook it this time, but don't let that happen again. Chastising him.
You let an alien out of a top secret facility, and the government just said, we're going to let this one go. But don't do that again. Come on. Charles McDonald is here, a kind and generous member who is the MVP of gifting the free memberships. I mentioned earlier, you're going to hit that subscribe button because every show, a bunch of people win a free membership. And thanks to the kindness, generosity, and support of Charles McDonald, who's also a member himself, 5 people have won a free gifted membership. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thanks to the kindness, generosity, and support of Charles McDonald. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, friends. Let's go. Thank you, Charles McDonald. Always good to see Charles McDonald in the live chat, one of our biggest supporters. Thank you, Charles McDonald, for your kindness, generosity, and support. So I was saying, this guy let an alien out of a top secret base, and the general or whoever was in charge just said, you could be court-martialed for letting the alien out, but this one, well, we're going to let this one go. But don't let any more aliens out of our top secret facility, you asshole. This is so stupid. It just logic alone shows you that this guy is full of shit. He's so full of shit. He waddles when he walks.
Supposed to be our guest. Why were we treating them cruel and treating them as prisoners? As a matter of fact, even worse than prisoners.
I don't want to see that. That's enough to make me
I've
throw
never
up. I
seen
don't want to see that old bitch and Daisy Dukes. That's gross.
The Manchurian Candidate.
Okay.
And the one thing that we
Welcome,
had here,
Tampon
I
Blood
didn't know
Magic.
until I got out.
You missed the low support on Kick. That's what you
57
missed so far.
and
Low
the
support
section
on Kick. Bunch of brokies in the Kick
and
chat.
raising one of those
I'm gonna start bitching like Darkside Phil. He had a meltdown today over the Kick
there's only 2 or
viewers.
3 races that are only.
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm begging for support on Kick. Tampon Blood Magic.
But
I'm a brokey lately. I'm drinking brokey beer. Look at this
what
shit.
I know, if I change anything that I do know,
This is fucking brokey time. Garage brand beer. That's what I got. Garage brand brokey
Why would you
beer.
say
Come
you would
on,
wanna
man.
say there was
Come
only
on.
1 or 2?
well, some people, we could find your story more believable if you.
The
did
kick,
that.
the kick money is extra money, so that is like the beer fund, and it's sorely low.
Uh-huh.
What do you want, a story that's believable, or do you want the truth?
They sound and cry the same. You're right, Lord Ludicrous. And welcome, Lord Ludicrous, longtime show supporter.
The truth is, I know it. That's all I can tell.
It's not
So
bad.
have you ever?
It's not bad.
I'm going to assume they must photograph these beings.
They have a lime flavored beer that's kind of like I like Michelob Ultra. What is it? Cactus and lime beer. It's really, really good. Goes down super easy. This Garage brand, I usually get the lime brand, the lime flavored, but they didn't have any where I went. So I just got, they call that one beer flavored beer because it's just beer. Light beer flavored beer. Yes. But we're hoping to get some better beer for this weekend.
There's photographs.
Okay. And what about you? Do you ever draw them? Do you have drawings of them?
Yeah, I got some drawings.
And have you distributed?
No.
Are you able at liberty to give them out at all or show them?
Some I have and some I haven't.
Uh-huh.
I like a good IPA.
And are you familiar with underground bases?
Nobody out. You're right. Hams is terrible, Winter Soldier. That is some brokey fucking hangover juice. I call that hangover juice.
Not by choice.
You know what my
Not by
favorite
choice.
is though?
That's believable.
My favorite brokey beer is called Lucky. I think it's called Lucky. And let me tell you, if you're drinking Lucky beer, you are not lucky. That is some hangover juice, that shit. Even these, I don't know, there's something about the cheaper beers, like you can't drink 10 of them. You better stop at 6 or you're going to really fucking feel it the next day.
But have you
Or even
also
4.
seen, say, reptilians, what's called, in the UFO community,
Subspecies that you
reptilians.
call reptilian, yes.
And are you able to
So he
communicate with
communicated
them?
with multiple species of aliens.
They can communicate with you.
Okay.
It's hard to explain. You can't keep secrets.
Guinness or dark beer, yeah, that makes
I
sense.
remind everyone is.
Yeah, he changed the story because stories always get more fantastical and sensational as time goes on. It's a rule of UFO land.
You know more than what you're supposed to know, but you don't know everything.
Sure.
And
Bourbon.
Reiterate, anybody that tells you that they know everything is a liar.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not true.
I'm not a big fan of hard liquor myself.
Do you have any special alien friends
Occasionally I have a bourbon
that
on
have
on
remained
ice.
with you throughout? That are
She's just asking if he had alien
Communicating.
friends.
One.
I'm sorry?
I mentioned one.
One. Okay, that would be Corona.
Correct.
Okay. And Corona is
He's got an alien friend named Corona. This is getting stupid.
You don't.
I know it's about 100 light years away from here because I always use that as an example.
He's communicating with an alien that's 100
Real-time.
light years away.
From the time they leave, and there's a little nice thing about
Guinness
that.
Zero?
From the
Is that
time they leave
non-alcoholic
their home
beer?
planet,
Why do people drink
which is on a
non-alcoholic beer?
star
Not for
system
people that don't want to get
like
drunk. They just want to
under-
piss a lot. I don't
in
get
real-time
non-alcoholic
travel,
beer.
It's an hour and 40 minutes.
Aliens took his
By the
hair.
time they
Yeah.
leave and arrive here.
What kind of craft do they use? Do they tell
They
us
go
they
100 million light
take
years
boats,
in
or
an
do they
hour and a
actually
half?
take a
Wow.
craft? Because not all of them.
No, it's a craft.
If it's craft.
Yeah, it's they're really traveling,
Okay.
but it's through a traversable, what we call a traversable wormhole.
Uh-huh. Now, have you ever gone with them?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Okay, he didn't take
And
rides
if
on
I
the
take that,
spaceship.
I can remember seeing the stars. That I've never seen them like that anywhere on Earth. But to the best of my knowledge, no.
So you don't have conscious memory, is what you mean,
Right.
of these incidents, but you could have.
Oh well, there's been some things.
Listen to
scary
Kerry.
that's happened in my life.
You could have went on the spaceship.
You actually feel the fear before you actually see the entity.
Mm-hmm.
And
so a person like you, we would think
I
that
have
you
bought
would
beer
not be
with
afraid
quarters. I
because
am not
you
ashamed
are
to admit,
so
my younger years.
conscious of your
Scrape up as
interaction
many
with
quarters
beings
as you can
that
and go get a
I'm
40.
surprised to hear you say that you're actually afraid. Are you afraid to this day, or are you talking
when I have
past
these incidences
tense?
happen, yeah, you still have that fear. I mean,
He's
that
afraid
fear
of
is
the
there.
aliens.
Even more so because you can feel the fear they have.
Okay.
We're a very dangerous species.
Sure.
So you better believe if they fall into our hands, there is that fear.
Okay. So, and this is part of the reason why I'm going to assume they approach you as a communicator or interfacer, as you call it, right?
Well, they're very concerned about our well-being.
He was interfacing with the aliens. I wonder if he got butt banged. On more 26 with $10 saying, go get a 6-pack of better beer. Well, thank you very much, but I have to limit my beer intake. Like, I drank some beer last night, so the missus will probably be pissed if I drink some beer tonight again. I call her Captain Counts a lot. She could tell you exactly how many beers I've had for the entire month of January so far, right? But I will, maybe tomorrow, I will take your $10 and treat myself to some non-brokey beer. So thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. And Charles McDonald throwing down another piece of the goal. Charles McDonald 7351 says he's got a friend named Vodka. I don't like vodka myself. I'm Polish and I still don't like vodka. All Polish people generally like vodka. Once in a great while, I will take a shot of vodka, but I can't drink just vodka. I think I'm allergic to vodka. It makes me break out in handcuffs. Every time that I have drank vodka, bad things happened. Like either I got blackout, like just drank way too much. One time I got drunk on vodka with these Polish girls and I jumped in their pool and it was a weird scene. And then I woke up like in their house on the couch the next day. And that was, vodka is bad for me, but thank you, Charles McDonald, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much appreciated.
And a lot of people say that can't be so. Yeah, they are. We've done terrible things to ourselves. And they know this. And they're trying to understand certain things about us. And I think at the same time, they're exchanging information saying, hey, here's what you've done to yourself.
Yeah, so apparently he telepathically communicated with the aliens in the top secret bases. But that one alien he felt so bad for that he cut a chain link fence with bolt cutters and let the alien go free. But then he didn't even get court-martialed for letting the alien go. I would think that having an alien in your possession is pretty high value, and the government wouldn't take too kindly to some asshole clerk typist cutting a fence and letting the alien escape.
I think that ties in a lot with some of the abductions that have taken place. I think it ties in with some of the...
He's making this shit up on the spot, says Tampa Blood Magic. Yes!
And I think it ties
yes,
in
he is.
People absolutely disappearing off the face of the earth.
Okay, so there are people that are disappearing on a regular basis, right?
Oh, yes.
And they're going to other planets. They're going to...
Yeah, they see
bases,
yeah,
I'm
of
assuming.
course. It's like, I communicated with multiple aliens.
No, if you're
Reptilians, Octorians, Greys, Nordics. I saw all the aliens.
Purpose. I don't know what that purpose is.
He should have said the alien he let escape. Sasquatch. Yeah, that would make the story better. Yeah.
Not only of the other entities out there and other, races and so on, but is it also to perhaps prepare or to warn of some event? Because you seem to be alluding to some event that you don't even know about.
As 2 points far out, they're becoming closer and closer together to eventually, and we ultimately know it's going to happen, contact's going to be made. The NASA Department of Astrobiology
Contact's going to be
held a
made.
conference in 2000. Forget
Yes,
the Brookings
they are.
Institute
They're in the Roswell
This report came out and
Public
said,
Library, I believe.
We don't really know what world reaction would be. It's a small report. How many people have read that report? How many people even know about it?
I never heard
When we
that.
say
Aldi
that we
sells
can accept
inexpensive
the
beer and
reality
wine. I don't know.
Visitors being here.
The bald
We
version
mean
of
us
Flash
ourselves.
Gordon.
But even when we can accept that, how many of us are really ready for that
The
face-to-face
less famous brother.
confrontation? And I can tell you, each time it's different.
Red-eyed monkeys. I don't know
Each
about that.
time there is that little something in the back of your mind that says,
Yeah, how does he allude to an event he doesn't know about? Good point. He's making this shit up.
that if something goes wrong,
It's getting deep in
it's
here.
going to equate. It could equate.
This
to
is
the
some
loss of life.
bullshit, right? Grade
Not
A
because we're
bullshit.
dangerous, but we're a danger to ourselves. So the whole situation.
I'll turn it up again. Somebody else said
how
it
do
was
you
too low.
Prepare a world population.
Turn it up again.
For that ultimate contact.
There you go.
Which isn't, as astroastronomers used to believe, that it's going to be by a radio signal from deep space coming here. But it's going to be face to face, and it's going to happen on our planet.
All right, there you go.
Well, it's happening.
I'm just trying to keep my mic above the,
Is it not?
the video.
All more so than people.
Otherwise, people complain if mine is low
But here again,
audio on the video.
Right.
The one thing you want when you get out of the military, the one thing you want more than anything, is to be normal.
Oh, I was going to say
Why?
hookers.
Why?
Why did I think
Why do you want
hookers?
to be normal?
To me, the greatest thing you can be is a servant. Taking care of other people is the most important thing.
All right, thank you guys. Yeah, always feel free to chime in and tell me to adjust it.
Gratification.
I want everybody to have a good experience here.
Being able to help other people. That's important.
How is he helping other people by lying to them, right?
People will put themselves ahead of others.
Fucking clerk typist.
And right there is where we have the problems today.
Telepathically interfacing with aliens. Come
to
on.
Get back to where you were saying.
Even helping aliens escape the government.
In a sense, you are in the forefront, a person who can prepare the rest of humanity for this actual contact, because you've been having contact.
I know.
And
well, there are guys that have made up stories about banging hot
off-worlders,
right?
Have basically been communicating, been choosing the people around the planet to communicate with, of which you are one, right? And so contact is
jail,
something
straight
that
to
is
jail.
being prepared for as we speak.
Too late.
Is
worldwide.
it not? Okay. And are you thinking, you know, a lot
how
of
can
people
they
like
make
to
them
say
prisoners if they can manipulate?
It's going to happen.
Good point. Yeah.
For the world to see, aliens are going to land on the White House lawn, something of this nature. And it's I mean, in a certain sense, it's going on every day. The military is dealing with, certainly they've captured, as you say, they're holding prisoner some of these entities. I mean,
she's certain of it. Christy talked to a lot of wackadoos who told her that.
Okay, I've heard about the treaties, but here again, that's not part of something that I'd work with.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this, I think by 2016 that something better have happened, because at 2016 I think we're going to have to announce to the world that there's a probe that comes very close to the Earth every 15, 20 years. We've been calling it an asteroid. It's not an asteroid.
Oh, here we go.
Actually, in reality, is an artificial probe.
It's an artificial spaceship. It's not an asteroid. Where have we heard that before? Avi Loeb, right?
In other words, somebody else put it here. They have found us a long time ago. The technology will probably be pretty much on par to say Voyager. It will be old, antiquated technology.
Yeah, I don't think landing
all
on the
their
White House
satellites.
lawn would be a good move for aliens. They'd get nuked.
So what are you saying? This probe,
I'm
do you know
saying
what
we
race?
already found it.
Uh-huh.
Our paradigm says that it can't be a
Host woman didn't give
artificial
him any
of
alcohol.
sort.
That way his stories would be more
Therefore,
cool.
we refuse to accept that, and we call it an asteroid. I'm talking about BG 1991, roughly 30 meters in diameter. Highly polished surface. Asteroids don't have a high polished surface.
Where is he getting this information from? I think he's pulling it straight out of his own asshole.
Took corrective course changes to avoid collision with another asteroid. That don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
This one it did.
So
all we need to know is, can we eat it or will it eat me?
From what planet?
I don't know.
He don't know what planets the aliens came from.
Upgrade have modified your DNA in any way? Are you aware that that your abilities have been augmented or have grown?
Did your superpowers get better as time went on? Bigger, better superpowers.
I try not to use those because you know things that's going to happen before they happen.
Now he can tell the future too.
And a lot of times you can't do anything to change them.
He could tell the future. Did he know that he would die penniless and broke, and he couldn't even afford to be buried properly because he was such a broke loser from being a grifter for 20 plus years? I guess he didn't see that coming. Some psychic.
Like I didn't know who, but I knew one of my kids was going to get killed on a motorcycle.
So wouldn't you tell him to get rid of the motorcycle or something? Spiritual Ascension says that Corey Good deposition was wild. Well, Corey Good is a fucking moron, and he may be retarded because I think largely most of the people that cared about that deposition already saw it on my channel before he started his copyright terrorism against my company and me, claiming I stole the videos and I've been reported to the police. I had to spend a full on 30 days of my life fighting with YouTube and him to get the strikes removed. Every day, filing more paperwork and more letters to YouTube. And eventually YouTube figured out that Corey Good was lying or had no evidence and that he didn't own the copyright. So we decided to run the deposition videos again. And I think we're up to maybe 1,500 more people saw them that would never have cared to see them before, I don't think. And today, Spiritual Ascension, I just uploaded the whole 7-hour deposition video or audio onto Spreaker. So now everybody on Apple, iTunes and Spreaker and Spotify, everywhere you listen to audio podcasts now, people can listen to those Corey Good depositions. So I think Corey Good is retarded for doing what he did because he shot himself in the foot, and now the Barbra Streisand effect is in full effect, and people are like, what's going on? Why is he trying so hard to stop people from hearing these depositions? And it's made more demand. And I just want to thank Corey Good because now I made more money off of those depositions, you moron. So thank you, Corey Good, you moron of the millennium, right? Yeah, I get that. Infinite says, dude, some of your videos are 11 hours long, very hard to absorb. Well, you can always search for True Seekers clips on YouTube. And in the description of every video is a link to our True Seekers clips video channel. And those are 5-minute videos, 15-minute videos, very short videos. We tend to do what we call deep dives here. Like we'll keep hammering away at investigating a certain personality or a certain story for a long time. And then we like to put them together. And, you know, it's one of those things, Infinite. Some people love those deep dives, especially researchers that are working on their own stories or whatever, because all the information will be there. If you want the quick version and some quick shots from us, go to True Seekers Clips channel. And by the way, I will be, again, we kind of let that channel, we got to the 1,000 subscribers, but then we kind of stopped uploading clips. I have, I think, something like 20 more clips already produced that I have to upload. But, you know, I'm a one-man army here. We do the best that we can. I'm sorry if you don't like the long format. Try the shorter formats.
And
Well, there you go.
that's
Jimmy
hard.
Tchaikovsky
I mean,
loves the deep
before my
dives.
son was killed, on the Wednesday prior to that, I knew that he parked the motorcycle in the back of the car. I knew I could go ahead, back up over it, and run over it a couple of times. But I also knew that the family
He did
would
expose
understand
himself. Yeah.
that I did that to stop what was
Investment in a
going to
weed
happen.
farm. Yeah, that didn't
That's
work
what
out
we
for him
stopped.
because he's a loser.
What I knew was going to happen.
So
But-
you're a precog. I mean, this is what they call a precog.
He's a
You
precog. He
knew
can tell the
before
future.
it happened. No, you were not
Notice
able
his
to necessarily.
now he's got
change
multiple
or stop it.
superpowers. Not only is he able to telepathically communicate with aliens, he's able to tell the future. Precognition. See how the stories get more grand as time goes on? He never talked about being able to tell the future in the first years and years and years of his telling this alien interpreter story. It's only later that he's, oh yeah, and I also can tell the future. Okay. Show us your superpowers. By the way, he's never displayed his superpowers in his entire grifting career. Funny that.
But there's a reason why things happen. I mean, you must agree.
Oh,
So
Yeah, so why isn't he a trillionaire?
in a sense, that
Well,
must be
he built in an excuse.
a
You
piece
can't
for you
change it.
because
But if
it's
you
not
can't
just
change it, then you
me
should
that
still know the lottery
but also
numbers for
souls
next week,
know
right?
what might happen. Souls are aware. In other words, we're all aware when we're going to die.
Sounds
We
like
may
some
not know
whole
it
video
consciously,
game.
but we do
Yeah.
know, right? So in that sense, I mean, it's not your responsibility.
Yeah, I don't know how he got his superpowers,
either
whether it was
to
from
prevent
P-Dance
a
or
as souls.
yeah,
of
the
reason.
Roswell series is a great example of a deep dive. Yeah, we interviewed every
like I say,
Roswell
they-
expert for that
they can
deep
even
dive.
communicate with what we call the other side.
Jim Bob is
But
here.
even
Now
if
it's a
that-
party.
given our
Welcome.
advanced technology, there are still forbidden questions.
Okay.
I'm trying to avoid saying something here. Let's just say that with the death of my son, they helped me visit with him one time.
Sure.
The aliens helped him talk to his dead son. He just said the aliens helped him talk to his dead son.
I ever asked. It was, I knew if I go back 15 minutes, I knew where he was.
I didn't forget. I'm sorry. I thought that you would message me or something. We could do it
I could stop the accident.
later tonight or tomorrow.
All I had to do was delay his movement anywhere as long as that 15 minutes for just a minute or so.
Yeah, what about the stock market
And I
numbers?
would
Yeah.
alter the outcome.
But
But
I'm sorry. It's going to my trash folder.
separate
I'll
them.
message you after the show tonight.
Here's our reality. Here you created that other parallel. And for some odd reason, it's not good to create that other parallel. And they know this. And also,
It's just getting wilder and wilder. First, he's telepathically communicating with aliens. Then he's letting aliens out of their cage
this
and escape a military base.
time continuum,
Now the aliens are helping him talk to his dead son.
because his death is reality to me in this.
Soon Kino will flow. Is there a Kino show tonight? No, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow maybe, right?
I must.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Lacey.
To the point from which I depart within that space-time. I'm not going to remain in the other one.
Roswell stuff is
A lot of
spooky?
people, you know,
Yeah, maybe.
like they said the other night, you'd stay there. No.
Maybe the real aliens were the friends we made all along.
I can't explain this. I couldn't go and debate it scientifically. But it's a natural barrier, which is why when time travel, when we discovered in our future, we're not going to find evidence of it being left.
Now there's time travel involved in his story.
Because of that natural barrier. We may even see them. We may sense them. We may
It is actually. He was a bunch of famous people in previous lives. That's what he talked about towards the end of his life. Yeah.
With the future tied with the day we discover time.
Do anything to escape getting to know
is going to be
ourselves.
left in any altered reality. They say, okay, time travel hasn't happened yet because we would have evidence of it.
Would we really?
There won't be any evidence left.
What if they were very good at blending in with the past? First rule of time travel, don't stand out as a time traveler.
Greater, more vast. And we're on an adventure.
People are getting vitamin ads? Nice.
And we all play certain parts into that. But just like when you brought it up about they are us. And I said, he's heard me say this, which is probably he got a grin on his face when you said that. But the whole situation is we look for the difference.
That sounds like fun. Get together in Roswell, right?
The 57. Look for the similarities.
I don't think there's evidence either way.
Look for those similarities.
Forward or backward.
We then begin to realize just how much we have in common. And eventually we come to the point of one thought. They are us. Because
now the aliens are us.
The universe is interconnected. All species are interconnected. Anybody ever ask why the common denominator is humanoid? You would not expect to find that if there was not some type of galactic blueprint.
Oh, there's a galactic blueprint.
By going through this life.
This makes a lot of sense.
Even those that we say are insane. On the other side, they're not insane.
Maybe we could find out a little bit about the types of visitors that you've dealt with.
All right, we're going to hear about the different aliens.
Or do you, are you actually sort of in an altered state, or are you able to see them in your mind? And do you communicate with them telepathically?
Well, I've never invited him here again because I know he's so busy. Let me just address this. People are asking, did I ever do a show again with PPP? I've been waiting patiently and sticking around, switching accounts like a ghost in the shell. First, I would do their show whenever they asked me. I would drop whatever I was doing to do their show. But it's been busy with what they cover, I assume, so they don't really need me. They needed me during a lull in their sort of usual coverage activity. And I haven't invited PPP back here because I just know that a show host is the worst person that you could ask to come and do your show because they're busy with their own show. But hopefully we'll collaborate again in the near future. I would really like that.
Some could talk just like you and I.
Okay.
But you'll have a lot that they won't do that, and they'll just want to communicate with you.
He's in an altered state, all right.
But there's one thing you have to keep in mind. This is what a lot of people overlook.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm not too big a fan of indica cannabis. It makes me feel like I'm moving in slow motion through time.
And they feel everything you know and you feel. You go in.
Oh, you feel everything the aliens feel. Oh.
And see, some of these, we weren't real good guys. We use the term visitor.
Sure.
The Kino will flow. I hope so. Sure.
And there is no law under protection.
Black Wilcock has spoken.
Ann Gersh has talked about this as well.
Oh, she's mentioning another wackadoo. He said some similar stuff, so your story must be true.
Put together and formulated NASA did.
Crazy Carrie Cassidy is a complete and total fucking moron. She believed anything people told her was true. As long as it fit her worldview, I guess, and her pre-existing beliefs.
Being not of this world even came into play. And you know what those rights are? There aren't any.
Still, to this day, you're saying?
No more than what the rights.
Tampon Blood Magic has gifted one sub. We'll count that as one for the goal. Thank you, Tampon Blood Magic, for your kindness, generosity, and support.
Even in spirituality.
I think Tampon Blood Magic is our biggest supporter on Kick. So thanks to Tampon Blood Magic. And that's a Styx Hexenhammer reference, that user ID, I believe.
Other than to do something that would cause us to get injured or killed. And forgive me, but
I think it's just
this is what
you.
I'm trying to
I
avoid.
turned it up. I don't want to turn it up any
I
higher
understand. Well,
because then people will complain that
okay,
it's
so
too
they, in
high.
a certain sense, would sacrifice themselves because they have a deeper understanding.
She supported whatever helped her grift. That is a
than we do.
good.
Absolutely.
That's a good overall view of
So
Carrie
you
Cassidy.
must be
Yes.
a very highly tuned spiritual being yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna put him on the list. I don't like that fucking guy. He's a piece of shit.
Races from other planets, the way you have, and to talk about it the way you do.
Yeah, how can he communicate with different races from all different alien planets? Wouldn't some of them not be telepathic? They're all telepathic, and he can communicate with all of them. This is where I say, like, these guys go too far with their bullshit.
And
It just kind of defies logic that he'd be able to communicate telepathically with all the different alien species somehow. Like they're all telepathic?
That's really a gift. As you say, it's not something taught. It's something you come into this incarnation with.
Well, I like to think of myself. I want to be normal, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Well,
from
I know what you're saying.
Externally, you appear like a normal person. And you've certainly held some very normal types of jobs, in addition to what you did, right? But you're also ultra normal, or you actually have.
He's normal?
Some of the
talking to aliens telepathically?
Of
He's normal?
That are good parts that are not used by the average man. Is that right?
Well, I hope so.
If you say so,
Okay.
esoteric
So
Wilcockism.
that's a beautiful thing, and we're really happy to meet someone in person.
Tell that to the people who have bad trips,
Well,
I guess.
to me, I think the one thing. Let me see if I can say this and get it through real quick. When I was young, I played with children that other people couldn't see.
He had imaginary friends as a child.
And I knew about the imaginary friends and things of this sort, but this was different.
No, his imaginary friends were real.
Normal.
His imaginary friends were real friends.
And this was perfectly normal. Now, no one else could see these people. And of course, I couldn't understand that. But of course,
Listen to some of the stuff this guy has talked about and tell me if you don't think this sounds like a schizophrenic mental patient in a fucking mental ward. Oh, I have superpowers. I telepathically communicate with all different alien species. I once helped an alien escape from a secret government facility by cutting the barbed wire fence with bolt cutters so he could run through the hole in the fence. Also, I knew in advance when my son was going to die, but I couldn't stop it. But it's okay because then the aliens helped me communicate with my dead son. Oh, and when I was a kid, I played with children that weren't really there. In other words, I had imaginary friends and I heard voices in my head. The guy sounds like a complete total lunatic. And esoteric Wilcockism has gifted one True Seekers membership. That's why I said, friends, you got to hit that subscribe button. You could win a free membership tonight. I think seven people have already won free memberships. And the show's not over, so be sure to smash that subscribe button. And thank you, Esoteric Wilcockism, who's also a member. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for helping us to expand our member base here. Very, very kind of you. And we've got Caney Death Squad is here with one for the goal, saying he's schizophrenic. He sounds schizophrenic to me. And that's just my personal opinion. But I did grow up. My mother was, a lot of you have heard me say this before. My mother suffered from paranoid schizophrenia for most of my childhood. Later, they finally dialed in her meds. And, she kind of calmed down on the illness. She wasn't as ill as I got older. But when I was a child, my mother was paranoid schizophrenic. And my mother thought that she talked to God. She thought that she talked to angels and demons, and she heard voices in her head. This sounds like this guy. But thank you, Caney Death Squad, saying he's schizophrenic with one for the goal. And Caney Death Squad has been a member for 12 months. Thank you for that as well. Katie Death Squad has been a member for 12 months and says, I wonder if his dead son called him gay. Anybody remember Heather's? I love my son. I love my dead gay son, right?
They would tell me, they haven't been selected. They can't see us.
Sure.
Because I was trying to tell other people that were there. The one thing I could not do is that in being normal, I thought other people had these same experiences. As a child, not realizing that was
more referred to as spiritual psychosis. Sounds nuts to me. Can we just say the guy's nuts?
These were things that was happening to me. But I felt everyone had these experiences.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of his son dying. I was referencing a movie there, Lacey. Relax. Anybody, I'm a father. I never want to see somebody bury their child. That's terrible.
Deny what was happening.
Yes, rest in peace. Eric Van Denningen passed away, age 90. Chariots of the Gods. Yeah, he's responsible for an awful lot of bullshit. But may he rest in peace, child of God. Same for this guy's son. Same for him. He's passed on now.
Animals, and if I found one injured, I would always try to nurse it back to health. As a child, I did not understand that if you had a cut, my mom would always.
He was making a joke. Relax. I don't think he was serious.
Well, I found this little bird. It fell out.
I generally don't punch low. No.
And I went.
Yeah, he was on Ancient Aliens because that's mostly his theories that they based the show Ancient Aliens on.
Got that little bird, and I held it under the faucet, not realizing that I was going to drown it doing that.
He drowned the bird. What?
I probably cried for over a week over killing that little bird.
Sounds like a psychopath. He's killing animals as a child.
Immediately, for the first time ever. What I was calling children, I got to see how they really looked. And this one particular entity I always knew as Corona. I was told.
The Corona alien.
Corona, and that's with a K.
Corona with a K.
At the time, I didn't even know how to spell Corona.
And what kind of race? What would you term him? What kind of?
Well, people would love for me to say that he was gray, but he wasn't just green. I mean, like a pastel green.
Oh, he's a pastel green alien. Yeah.
But immediately he wanted to know, why did I feel what I was feeling?
Okay.
This was unusual. Mm-hmm. And immediately it was.
That is probably correct, Andrea Scott. Yes, I believe you are correct.
Because he was more like a monitor with me.
And
so
this does sound like schizotypical disorder, yeah.
And abilities, and it appears so did you. So it went both ways, as the telepathy goes both ways.
I'll carry it even a step further. We see our visitors as cartoon characters. They have cultures, they have societies, they have families, they have loves, they have dislikes, they have likes.
Wow, they're a lot like us. What are the odds?
And they can feel fear.
Yeah, he did start this whole mess, a lot of it.
This
yeah.
was maybe your first, introduction into that world in a more personal way, right?
You could be right.
It was the first glimpse, a shock. But
I don't think that grieving makes you a bullshitter for decades, or is an excuse for being a bullshitter for decades, misleading people and scamming them to buy your book of lies and bullshit.
Crying, begging my mom and dad to take me to see a doctor because I knew the doctor could make the monsters go away.
I'm wondering.
The doctors make the monsters go away.
One of 7 who is able to communicate with aliens.
Well, he's one of only 7 people
to a base
that can communicate with the aliens
on Mars. Now, whether or not you remember it, because I don't know if they
listen to this. She's trying to work the secret space program into her scam, but he's like, "No, I don't remember going into space." But she's like, "Well, you might have. You might have went into space, and you just don't have conscious memories." She's determined to shoehorn some secret space shit into this interview.
Certain.
Very leading.
There are things that I have no idea of could have happened here on planet Earth that I have very vivid memories of. that I don't see. For example, have you ever heard of a coffee cup that's small?
Yeah, I'd have
you
to
put
check the
coffee in
copy.
it,
I own this
and it'll
book,
put
Mr.
the
Sauce. I'll check the copyright when I
uh,
get a chance and let you know.
coffee jar or whatever,
It's
and it's got
probing
a percolator,
time. Yeah.
golden color. Cups were golden color, but you put the coffee in there, and
What
you
a
can drink it,
coincidence. Golden
and
colored
it goes
cup.
right back up. Now you see what I'm saying, and now you understand why I'm hesitant to talk too much about stuff like that.
Okay. So that's, I mean, that's really amazing. You know, you have to admit, I'm from the point of view
Yeah, I
of
think it was before he
people that
lost
haven't
his
gone to
child.
the moon,
Honestly, he
and
started
in a
telling his
sense
stories,
are
and then his
marked.
son died later.
Um,
And then he worked
I
his
mean,
son
here you
dying
are sitting talking
alien
to us,
fantasy.
and yet you may have had experiences that are so far beyond our everyday
A mental
experience
coping
on this
mechanism to
planet.
disassociate it when confronted with a
And
loss
you
like
must
that.
be, I mean, there must
Maybe,
be a
yeah.
level at which you would love to share those experiences.
Well,
Good
yeah,
point.
and sometimes I make mistakes, and I've
Papyrus reed boats.
let
What?
people see some things that I shouldn't have let them see, because this is a part of something that is in my life that is I'm to do something with,
Sure.
and I don't understand that. I don't know what it is.
That's amazing because you worked
Aliens
with
makes it
this
easier. Maybe.
world.
Yeah.
So
It's
since
escape into
the
fantasy.
60s,
It's a false
you're talking about
reality.
40 odd years. And you're still wondering, like what it is it's all about for you in terms of your destiny, in terms of
You may
what
be
it is
right,
you're
Andrea
here
Scott.
to
They
do
all draw from
in the
science
future,
fiction.
I guess. Am I understanding you?
There's something
Okay, bad joke.
that is going to happen, and there is something that we're to be a part of. And I don't know what that is.
You were starting in, like you said, the 1960s as an interfacer.
Late 1960s.
Okay. And
Summer
I'm
of
gonna
Love.
assume
He's
clear
talking
up
to
today,
aliens. Nice.
because you don't lose the skill. And if you're one of 7,
He could
you
still
know,
talk to the
every
aliens.
once in a while they got to
even
come
after
knocking on your
retirement.
door.
Well, they check on you from time to time.
Okay. Visitors out there, different communities.
The military
they
checked
certainly
on
know
him.
how to find you.
Can you still
where
talk to
you are, when you
aliens,
get home,
wackadoo?
and how
Yeah,
to,
yeah. I'm
say,
still talking to
see
aliens.
what
I'm
it is you're
still a
going through.
wackadoo.
For example, they could be seeing this going on right now. They could even have said to you, you know, go ahead with this because this is a good thing, right? So in a sense, you're talking
Candy.
about your
What? He
destiny.
looks like a guy that would have a candy
Meaning
van.
it's not about money.
Get in the van,
It's
kids. I
not
got
even
candy.
really a job in the formal sense of the word, right? It's a mission, but it's an earthly mission in a sense that you have.
Yeah, I would go along with that. That there's
The only
you're
aliens
being
are those
driven to do
island
something. You don't
boys.
have to fully understand it.
Yeah, those
But it's
guys are
something
freaky.
you
You
have
see
to do.
that guy's baby?
And the
That
other
guy's
scary
baby looks like
aspect
an
about it,
alien. It's fucked up looking.
you know, you don't know why and you don't know what, but it's coming to an apex. That
Yeah, I
what you're
agree. They're
doing-
copying one another's distortions and running
You're
with the
fighting the
narrative.
clock.
Yes.
Okay, is the clock 2012? Is that the clock you're looking at?
I don't
Why
know.
are all these
You don't know.
dickheads bald or
A
going
lot of
bald?
people
I don't
say,
know,
"Gee, if you
Caleb,
worked with
but
this,
you're right.
You have all the you don't have all the answers. And he who comes up and tells you they have all the answers.
He's more of a muffin van guy. Yeah. Anything
you
that
don't
makes
know
money.
what it is.
Exactly.
Why would one want to go ahead, be in this field, subject themselves to ridicule? And there are family problems. The situation is my family don't understand this.
His
They've been
family
around
doesn't
enough to
understand
say,
why
my
he's
wife
scamming
and my
people on the internet more like,
for my
right?
kids, but I guess my daughter in Vietnam, we had a daughter we'd been fighting to get out of Vietnam for almost 30 years. Anyhow, when she came over, well, of course, she had her own family with her. And
He had a
when
love child in
we started
Vietnam.
talking about UFOs, they all knew about it. They all knew about certain things I was involved in. And it was the government of Vietnam and told them.
The government of Vietnam told
kinda
him,
shocked.
your daddy talked to
Now
aliens.
there is a tremendous interest among a lot of the people in Vietnam about UFOs.
Oh, really?
One of the first things that happened.
Yeah, we do
in
got to get
Vietnam
those
was
kick numbers
when
up.
they called me by my
Yeah.
proper name. Most people call me Stony.
Yes, he did.
Cliff.
We showed his book at the beginning of the
But
broadcast.
and we shot at these guys.
And he was
he was
a speaker at hundreds of UFO
Clifford,
conventions.
what are you doing here?
For
You're not supposed to be here.
Forever.
And I was in the military and we were on.
You went to a UFO conference for decades. Clifford Stone was telling his stories there.
The strange thing is that
paid speaking fees, selling books, being in documentaries.
Now remember, the military is here on Earth. That's
early podcast, UFO stuff, circuit.
Our visitors, what did they plan for me to do?
And by the way,
well, can you answer your question?
I'm not sure, but often I believe, or I've been told, or it's been theorized that Kerry Cassidy would pay some of the people she interviewed. The more, because she was going to make money and she wanted to continue getting these interviews from the people. You got to pay, At least that's what I've been told. She's free to correct me, right? Maybe his psychic energy fries their brain and makes them bald. That's a good explanation, right? Stone was doing this for a long time, all of it, and got paid for it to do so. Yeah, he was making money telling the alien stories. It's very lucrative. But then I don't think it's very lucrative because most of these UFO alien grifters, it might be lucrative for a time, but then people tire of your stories. It's hard to keep generating a certain level of income. Look at Corey Goode. He was generating hundreds of thousands of dollars of income. Now he's broke as shit, declared bankruptcy. He's getting his ass sued off by Gaia TV. He's losing court cases left and right, it appears.
I have no answers. I have more questions.
But Corey Goode still claims that he's making $8,000 a month somehow. But somehow he doesn't have enough money to hire a lawyer in the copyright case in California. And somehow he doesn't have enough money to pay the judgments against him.
Than you have about myself. 2 or 3 times I got out of the UFO field. But you won't tell you a little secret? You can't. There are people out there, and I'm one of them. It's not about money. God, I wish it was. I struggle and he can tell you, every month just to make my bills.
Strawberry ice cream, Hershey Kisses. Well, there you go. See, it's not very lucrative.
It's more than that.
He's struggling to make his bills.
But the hardest thing to do right now is to make people think for themselves and to read.
Well, people say that. I've heard he was a Christian minister. That kind of flies in the face of Luciferianism, I think, but who knows?
The government's own evidence, if they read that.
I think Corey Goode thinks everybody's a Satan worshiper that, talks shit on him. I've been accused of that.
Something is going on.
I'm certainly not.
Sure.
Then the only questions.
David Wilcock claimed I was a Satan worshiper because I wore a devil mask once on the show.
How much does our government know?
Yep, Corey Goode
will
not end up having enough money to be buried.
Okay, well, we want to thank you for your courage.
Oh,
for your
so courageous of you to bullshit in
spiritual
public library
or awareness that makes you.
Well, that I'm aware of. I've had a very bad experience multiple times with Catholicism.
Few on the planet
I grew up Catholic,
so consciously.
All right.
There were times that we were just minutes away from going to a nuclear exchange because of UFO sightings.
Sure.
UFO sightings almost caused nuclear war.
That was set up, which the American people were truthfully told this was to ensure that there wasn't.
I'll agree with that. David Wilcock is an idiot.
Due to false returns. And of course, everybody had war scares. UFOs were a reality.
Calcified pineal gland always results in massive.
They were being reported. They were being picked up on radar. Mm-hmm. You had both radar and radar visuals that was taking place. You had fighters trying to intercept.
Can we see the radar? No.
So in order to reassure one another that we're not doing this, and it should have been commonplace that if we had this technology, or if they had that technology, there was nothing the other side could do anyhow. We had missiles that
classify something that doesn't exist.
Not destroyed, but
early
of firing.
Project Camelot,
we had fighter aircraft
video
fire on
editing.
UFOs, and their weapons wouldn't work.
You actually have used some of the parts of humanity that are good parts that are not used by the.
Oh, you're such a good guy, interfacing with aliens. All right. All right. We made it. We made it through to the end of this shitty video. So I guess I want to put on the record some comments that I have about Mr. Clifford Stone. And let's do that now. I'll call out any support before we end tonight's broadcast. So please don't be shy. Send in those super chats. Send me some kicks on Kick or give some subs on Kick. Become a subscriber. Become a YouTube channel member. I'll call that. Get a big shout out and thank you. I call all support out. So Clifford Stone, a self-proclaimed UFO crash retrieval specialist and extraterrestrial communicator, has captivated fringe audiences with tales of government cover-ups and alien encounters and classified military operations. However, a rigorous analysis reveals his narratives are completely unsubstantiated fabrications marked by a glaring lack of empirical evidence, a multitude of contradictions with his official records, which show that he was just a clerk typist and he was never involved in any secret or sensitive programs. And of course, he had a progressive escalation in sensationalism. So we can dissect some of Stone's claims and assertions, drawing on documented criticisms and historical context within the UFO conspiracy lore or mythology. And through that, we can demonstrate how his claims exemplify pseudoscientific storytelling that is devoid of any verifiable support. So Clifford Stone, who was born in 1946 and died in 2021, emerged as a very prominent figure in UFO lore during the late 1990s and early 2000s, positioning himself as a retired U.S. Army sergeant who had, he claimed, a great multitude of insider knowledge of extraterrestrial phenomenon and the government's knowledge of it. He alleged that he was involved in covert operations to recover crashed UFOs and even interacted and communicated telepathically with alien beings. And these are claims that gained traction through his appearances at events like 2001 Disclosure Project press conference and his 1997 book, UFOs Are Real, Extraterrestrial Encounters Documented by the U.S. Government. Stone's stories include childhood encounters with UFOs, telepathic communication with extraterrestrials, and participation in elite crash retrieval teams handling dozens of different alien species. And as far as his stories, despite their allure and popularity, his claims crumble under scrutiny. After all, Stone provided no tangible evidence, such as photographs, classified documents directly linking him to these operations, or any documents, for that matter, linking him to these type of operations, or any corroborating witnesses to substantiate his extraordinary experiences. Instead, he relied on Freedom of Information Act requests to unearth general government documents on UFO-related projects like Project Moondust and Blue Fly, which he claimed was proof of his personal involvement with those programs, though they offer no such evidence or proof, and there is no verifiable evidence he was ever a part of any of the programs he claimed to be a part of. Moreover, his narratives grew increasingly elaborate and more sensational over time, evolving from vague recovery missions to detailed catalogs of 15 alien species and ties to secret space programs. This suggests embellishment for dramatic effect. And if we critically evaluate Stone's claims and emphasize their evidential voids, internal inconsistencies, and contextual placement amid a history of UFO hoaxes. So to overview Stone's claims, his core narrative begins with a purported childhood encounter at age 7 in 1953, where he allegedly witnessed a UFO and interacted with alien entities. He claimed this event drew the military's attention, leading to lifelong monitoring by a mysterious Air Force captain who encouraged his interest in UFOs and steered him towards enlisting in the U.S. Army in 1968. During his 22-year service ending in 1990, Stone claimed that he was covertly assigned to an elite UFO crash retrieval team. And this was apparently due to his innate telepathic abilities to, quote, interface, unquote, or communicate with extraterrestrial biological entities via his superpowers or telepathic abilities, others might say. He described being pulled from regular duties, such as his duties we can verify he was in the military doing, like clerical work, for week or multi-week long missions to crash sites where he would communicate telepathically with the surviving aliens or even administer first aid using a classified EBE guidebook and assist in UFO alien crash retrievals and recoveries. This guidebook, allegedly 3 inches thick, detailed 57 distinct EBE, or extraterrestrial biological entity species, including their physiology, dietary needs, and medical vulnerabilities. Stone claimed first access to this manual in 1979, and he used that manual, or he claimed he did, until 1989, under the supervision of a shadowy colonel who oversaw his debriefings, which he's never named. He further tied his experiences to classified programs like Project Moondust, which involved the recovery of foreign space debris in reality, and Operation Blue Fly, which was a program to exploit such materials. He uncovered documents about those programs via FOIA, their public records, but he presented them as direct evidence of his role in these programs, which his involvement in these programs was never verified. He has never provided proof he was a part of either program. And even still, if he did, those programs were not about crashed alien technology. They were about the recovery of foreign space debris, like Russian satellites that came down, or Russian space junk that came down, or any Russian space technology. They were trying to recover it. It was the height of the Cold War. In later accounts, Stone expanded his scope in these programs and secret programs, correlating his stories with those of other self-styled whistleblowers like Corey Goode and Dan Sherman, framing his abilities within broader secret space programs involving extraterrestrial communications from 1987 onward. These claims, while consistent in their insistence on government secrecy, lack any foundational proof and rely solely on Mr. Clifford Stone's anecdotal testimony. In other words, they're just stories. And next, it would be dereliction of duty if I didn't mention his complete and total absence of any real or verifiable evidence. I believe the most damning flaw in Clifford Stone's whistleblower persona is the complete lack of any evidence supporting his allegations. Despite decades of public speaking, interviews, and book authorship, Stone never produced artifacts such as photographs of crash sites, alien remains, or the purported EBE guidebook. His reliance on FOIA documents is misleading. While these confirm the existence of programs like Moondust, they contain no mention of Clifford Stone himself or of any extraterrestrial involvement, merely addressing foreign debris in a Cold War context. Critics, including ufology skeptics, note that such documents are publicly available and do not constitute any real proof of personal experiences, let alone alien encounters. Stone's book is an evidential vacuum. It compiles repetitive FOIA responses emphasizing national security denials, but offers no smoking gun evidence linking him to UFO recoveries. Reviews of the book highlight its insistent tone and lack of definitive proof, reducing it to a speculative interpretation rather than scholarly documentation. Even sources that are sympathetic to the crash retrieval narrative acknowledge this shortfall, with Stone himself conceding the absence of evidence while attributing it to government cover ups, a circular argument that fails logical scrutiny. In a field rife with hoaxes, as documented by confessions from figures like Bill Moore or Corey Goode, Stone's unsubstantiated claims align more with profit driven sensationalism than genuine disclosure. In other words, he had a profit driven motive to tell these stories. And then, of course, there was an incredible amount of inconsistencies in his military records and his testimony. Stone's military service record poses irreconcilable contradictions to his narrative. Official documents list him solely as a clerk typist with no reference to specialized training in nuclear, biological, or chemical warfare facilities, let alone UFO crash retrieval units. Stone dismissed this as a deliberate cover up to conceal his true assignments, but this explanation lacks corroboration and strains credulity. Prominent critic Kevin Randall, a retired U.S. Air Force captain and UFO researcher, personally interviewed Stone and concluded he was not credible, citing these discrepancies as evidence of fabrication. Further inconsistencies emerge in Stone's accounts of specific incidents, such as a 1969 recovery in Indian Town Gap, Pennsylvania, involving 4 dead gray aliens. Details that vary across retellings without supporting documentation, and there's no corroborating witnesses or evidence of this crash or recovery of aliens. His emotional appeals during testimonies, while compelling to believers, evade substantive verification, mirroring patterns in debunked UFO cases where anecdotal stories substitute for facts. And then, of course, there was the evolution and sensationalism over time of Stone's stories. A chronological review of his stories reveals Stone's narratives growing progressively more extravagant, a hallmark of unreliable testimony. Early accounts, such as those in his 1997 book, focused on general UFO recoveries and FOIA discoveries. By the 2001 Disclosure Project, he introduced personal telepathic interactions and emotional pleas about alien families and cultures. Later, in the mid-2000s interviews, he escalated to claiming knowledge of 57 extraterrestrial biological entity species via a classified manual. And by 2016, he somehow linked his experience to expansive secret space programs involving other so-called whistleblowers. This amplification from modest crashes to interstellar catalogs suggests embellishment and sensationalism to sustain public interest in book sales. As critics observed his testimonies becoming more ridiculous and fantastical with repetition, such evolution undermines his credibility, aligning with psychological patterns in confabulation where initial fabrications expand to fill narrative gaps. Stone's claims must be viewed against the backdrop of UFO conspiracy theories, a domain that is plagued by liars, storytellers, hoaxes, and pseudoscience. Figures like Bill Moore admitted feeding fake evidence, while scientific inquiries by groups like the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry find no support for extraterrestrial visitation, despite extensive study. Stone's prominence in debunked media, like the film Thrive, further erodes his standing, as such platforms prioritize sensationalism over scholarly rigor. His stories, lacking the multi-witness corroboration or physical evidence demanded by most skeptics, exemplify how personal anecdotes or stories fuel misinformation without advancing real knowledge. Mr. Clifford Stone's self-aggrandizing tales of him being some kind of hero and his alien whistleblowing collapse under critical examination and are exposed as being barren of any evidence, inconsistent, and increasingly sensationalized. Absent any verifiable proof, his claims serve not as revelations, but as a cautionary example of pseudoscientific exploitation. Scholars and the public alike should approach such narratives with unyielding skepticism, demanding evidence and substantiation over anecdotal allure. In the absence of actual evidence, Stone's legacy remains one of unsubstantiated fantasy, contributing to the discrediting of legitimate inquiry into unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomenon. All right, we'll put that on the record. And also, I think that Mr. Stone's story is a cautionary tale to anybody who gets excited about these so-called whistleblowers. Like Dave Grush, same thing. A lot of stories, and the stories now, Dave Grush's stories are evolving, changing. They're getting more grandiose as time goes on. He still hasn't proved his initial claims. And let's just take a look. Days since June 5th, 2023, that's the date that David Grush first came out with his original claims. It's been 953 days since another so-called alien whistleblower from the military in the form of Dave Grush came out with very similar stories to Clifford Stone, alien crash retrievals and the government's in possession of bodies. Well, it's been 953 days, and so far, David Grush has provided no proof. Are we going to be 20 years into David Grush telling stories and still no proof? That's my prediction. David Grush will never produce any real proof. Okay, Amber Gedden. Oh, by the way, I want to thank Amber Gedden for the kind and generous, I think it was a $5 super chat. Amber Gedden was the only person who contributed it to our Corey Good full deposition. And I want to thank Amber Gedden for that and thank her for being a member and a big supporter. I was a little bit disappointed considering I spent an entire month fighting with Corey Good to keep those deposition videos on YouTube. And, you know, I don't often get bitter or anything, but, you know, it really is like a very difficult position that we are in, having to fight with these scammers and grifters to keep our videos online and to educate and inform the public. But thank you, Amber Gedden, for supporting that investigative journalism work that basically destroyed a scammer scam. The release of those deposition videos I will always be proud of, because when you hear in his own words that, yes, I did make up stories about the secret space program, or you hear him being asked, you ever been to space? And he says, in my physical body? I don't believe so. Well, then why did you spend 8 years or however long you spent telling people your secret space adventures you claim were true stories, right? Harry Challenger, I'll put it on the list. There's an awful lot of grifters. There's no end, right? Yes, esoteric Wilcockism says he will never hide his sins. You are correct, right? You want to learn the Ferengian rules of acquisition, trolly troll troll? Okay, I'll take a few comments from questions from the live chat. We have, I'll take the banner down. I'll check in with the Kick stream. Make sure that we have no more support out there. Mammals have been around, Let's Magus says, mammals have been around for 1 million and advanced Homo sapiens for only 30,000 years out of 4.5 billion years of Earth's existence. So most planets likely won't have anything but simple life or anything at all. Yeah, but there's got to be planets that are further ahead in their evolution than we are. So you would think that there would be some. I'm very disappointed by the fact that there's no proof of aliens on other planets. And I truly hope, like Elon Musk, that we're not the only planet that has developed consciousness. Because, I don't know, it just seems like a tremendous waste of space. The universe is so vast, so just extremely vast. It's almost so big, it's hard to even comprehend how big it is. Have I ever been to Contact in the Desert or done other UFO conferences? I've done a few small ones. There used to be one in Philadelphia, and I went to that one. It was run by John Ventry, and I sat right next to Linda Moulton Howe. This is before I started felting her, though, and that was many, many years ago, right? Yeah, I haven't been to Contact in the Desert. It's very difficult for me to travel with my autistic son. He's nonverbal autistic, and the thought of taking an 8-hour plane ride to go to a UFO conference, it just doesn't appeal to me. I'd rather skip it. And I don't think we can imagine that I would be not very welcome at UFO conferences. It's like going to a party, pulling your pants down, and just shitting all over the party. Like, I'm not very well liked, right? I have a VR Quest, and I gotta say, even though I know Bob Lazar's story is a total piece of shit, I probably still will do the VR thing and look inside the so-called sport model, even though it's fake as shit, right? How is my recovery going, by the way? Very good. I just said at the beginning of the broadcast, I feel like I'm completely recovered at this point. And I feel like I did before having the event. For those unaware, I had a brain aneurysm and a brain bleed, and I had two, they called them minor brain surgeries, a coiling procedure, and a stent put in the artery to prevent further brain bleeds or problems. I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling almost like myself again, and I really got to get this YouTube hamster wheel moving again so you guys can expect more shows. I'm also working on a new series of shows that will be day shows, and there's a reason for that. I don't want to waste my good night slots where we've been at 7 p.m. every, 3 or 4 shows a week for years, and we get a good crowd here. But there's a whole bunch of other subjects that I want to cover. So when we do something that's off the beaten path, for example, we've got a great author interview coming with a gentleman named Ken Ami. And Ken Ami writes an awful lot of books about esoteric subjects like demons and a Nephilim and, I don't know, forbidden history or ancient mysteries. So we're going to start a new series of shows, and I'll put the ones that are off the beaten track and might not get a lot of views. We're going to put those during the day shows, and then we're going to put the normal kind of coverage on the night shows that you've come to expect from us. There is almost no new Alien games. Patty says Ken is very interesting. I'm reading one of his books now, and I was very impressed with the book. First of all, it's a very short read. I think it's 150 pages. And because of my vision problems, I appreciate it that the text is pretty big. Some books I get and I'm like, shit, I can't read this without a magnifier. And you ever try to read a book with a big magnifier in front of you? It's just not comfortable. I like to curl up and read a book, right? Like in front of the fireplace or whatever. I don't enjoy reading a book with a fucking stupid magnifier. So I try to go for books. Hopefully, I like shopping for books at a real bookstore because then I could see the text and go, nope, that one's too small. Nope, that one's too small. No, oh, this one's good. I can read this one without a magnifier, right? Have you taken your kids to the Please Touch Museum in Philadelphia? Yes, I've heard kids like it, and I'm not making some kind of bad name for a children's museum. The Please Touch Museum. Yeah, my kids have been there. My kids are more into Chuck E. Cheese and Sesame Place right now. My poor wife, man, she takes them to either Chuck E. Cheese or Sesame Place or both every weekend. Plus, they go to see their grandmom every weekend. But if you do live near Sesame Place, which is I think it's in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. It's 20 minutes from my house in Warminster. It's just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for those wondering. If you get a chance, if you have children, take them to Sesame Place. They'll enjoy themselves. We have season passes, and we've had season passes so long. Somehow my wife knows everybody that works at Sesame Place, and we get special deals. Sometimes they have dining with Elmo. And surprisingly, the food is very good. Last time they had beef brisket and a bunch of other stuff. And really good Caesar salad. And you get to have dinner with Elmo, and I think it's funny. My autistic son was playing Sesame Street videos while he was at Sesame Place. And his brother's like, what are you doing? We're here. We're on Sesame Street. Put your tablet away, right? What dragged me into making a UFO channel? Kind of new here. Well, I saw something when I was a child and I couldn't explain. It got me down the UFO rabbit hole. I began to read every book, watch every documentary. I did an awful lot of research. I used to be much more of a believer, but the more you dig into UFO lore, mythology, and history, the more fraud you find. So it's turned me into a very cynical show host insofar as what I cover. Rex Holst, thoughts and opinions on the South American tribes uh, that saw or showed a picture of a gray ET and said, "Oh yeah, those are ant people." Yeah, that's a weird one. I mean, I can't explain it. You can explain it through mythology, maybe, right? What exactly did I saw? I saw a craft that I can't explain. It was circular, dull gray. It was just over the trees in a forest I was in at the time, but it was getting dark. It was like twilight, and I observed a lot of weird stuff. And interestingly, I remember to this day that I felt like electricity in the air when I saw this thing. And then it kind of zipped off, and I told my father about it, who was he was an aircraft mechanic. He was a helicopter mechanic during Vietnam, and he was big time into aviation. And my father was like, "You either saw a balloon or something ordinary. It's not aliens, moron." And so my father kind of didn't understand. To this day, I don't know what I saw, but it was right near McGuire Air Force Base. I was just 2 miles from the runway in the woods around McGuire Air Force Base. So a lot of me thinks it might have been some kind of military craft, but it doesn't make sense that they would test a military craft at McGuire Air Force Base, because for those unaware, McGuire Air Force Base isn't exactly doing a lot of top secret stuff. They're a logistic and support base. So in other words, during Desert Storm, for example, they were flying those big cargo planes full of food, ammunition, equipment, body armor, whatever, nonstop. And they were flying those flights like it was ridiculous. I remember to this day. At some point, they shut the base down, and you could no longer watch the planes taking off. But from my parents' home in Jersey, you could still see the planes taking off, and it was like every 10 minutes a big cargo plane was taking off for months and months and years, I think, right? Experimental technology, says Patty Wilhelm. Yeah, could have been. Ever see how this African guy watched Star Wars Episode 1 and said the horned bad guy was one of their spirits? I haven't heard that, but it's kind of a devil archetype. Interesting, people think TR-3B is bananas, but that craft is not that exotic if you dig into that. It's way shittier version of real advanced craft. Well, listen, I believe that there probably is a lot of experimental weird technology that gets mistaken for aliens or UFOs. And in fact, the government has admitted that they used flying saucers and aliens as cover stories for secret projects like the SR-71 Blackbird or the U-2 spy plane and the stealth bombers. When people saw them, they thought that they were some sort of alien technology, and the government actively encouraged this belief because it was a good smokescreen for what they were really doing. And I have a theory that is called the dark playground hypothesis. You could use the search bar on YouTube and just search dark playground. And in my hypothesis, it's sort of my belief that a great many of the, let's just say, stranger, very difficult to explain UFO cases, I believe are probably attributed to black budget advanced aerial craft projects that the United States government is running, right? Patty Wilhelm says people want to see aliens. Well, yes, they do. They do want to see aliens, right? And let me do something here. I'm sorry, I have to change to another. I have to get us something to play us out with. So, first, I want to just show you my favorite thumbnail ever of a UFO whistleblower. This is Dave Grush on the Jesse Michaels show. and he changed his thumb because everybody was like, "Oh my God, you made him look retarded." Check this. Way to make a guy look retarded. Great job, Jesse Michaels. So I believe we've done our due diligence for tonight. I've got an incredible week planned for you. First of all, let me promo this. This Sunday night, I'm trying to get this YouTube hamster wheel rolling again, friends. So this Sunday night, I am debuting our new free documentary. By the way, for those unaware, if you go to our channel and you scroll down all the way down to the bottom of the channel, if you do that, you will see playlists, and one of the playlists is free documentaries. So there is now, I think it's, I'm going to have to check. There's 4 free documentaries in our free documentary section. And this coming Sunday at 7 p.m., we're debuting another of our free documentaries. This one was, I have to say, it was probably a years long research project. Now, I did other things, of course, but every once in a while when I had spare time, I would peck away. I wanted to research and know all about the legends of all the lost cities that you may have heard about. Things like Atlantis or Tartaria, Agartha, and Lemuria, and El Dorado, and Shangri-La. They're all included in this. This has been an exhaustive effort to research all these legends and mythology of the lost cities. And my conclusions are there. It's kind of dry though. Just be warned. It's very information dense. I really did an incredible amount of research. I think there's 150 references in each section, and there's 6 sections. So that'll give you some indication. So come this Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and see our new free documentary. Viewer support, ad supported, of course, and throw some money down and send us some super chats if you want to see some more free documentary projects like this. Every one that I do turns into a financial disaster. For some reason, people support the live shows, but when I do like a premiere for a pre-recorded video, we get a couple of super chats, but not much real support, right? So come and see the new documentary, and that will make 5 free documentaries on our channel. And again, if you go to our main channel, just scroll all the way down, and the free documentary section is all the way at the bottom. There's 2 documentaries on Third Phase of Moon hoaxers. There's a documentary on Todd Standing, the Bigfoot hoaxer. And there's a documentary on David Wilcock and Corey Good, the Secret Space Clown hoaxers. So, yeah. Try to get that hamster wheel going. We're putting out a free documentary. Hopefully this one's not a financial disaster like most of the others, right? Sneezing Monkey recommended you. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, he does funny stuff. He covered when David Wilcock accused me of getting him swatted and shit. He does good work. I think he's German, right? He's got a good channel. And yes, I do interact with some other UFO channels, but most of them are, I don't know, I'm like the black sheep of the UFO world. They don't like me coming in and shitting all over their party with my goddamn facts and evidence and research that debunks a lot of this shit as totally fake. They really not a lot of fans, right? But to people that are interested in these subjects that aren't total fucking morons, we do pretty well. Me, I wish that I could have found a cheat sheet like this channel when I started on all this stuff to let me know who's full of shit and who's not, right? I wasted years and years listening to people and not doing any fact checking, right? Not doing my own research. And I was horrified when I started finding out, like, oh, this guy that said he was in the Air Force and he met aliens while he was in the Air Force. Turns out he was never in the Air Force. Like, these are kind of important things that you need to know if you're interested in these topics, right? Yeah, this is about a 2-hour video. Rexhole says, sounds very interesting. I love deep dives into ancient history. Yeah, so we got a great week for you. Tomorrow we'll be doing our usual. We're jamming together David Wilcock and Corey Good because they're both so boring now that I can't get a full show out of either of these slacker clowns. You know, scammers are lazy, right? David Wilcock works 1 day a week, and he cries and complains all the time. Corey Good doesn't even work 1 day a week. He has his video. Both of their YouTube channels are in the shitter, man. They're just not doing well, right? They're just not doing well. So I'm going to leave you with a song, a music video that is from Simon Fly. Shout out to Simon Fly. We haven't played one of his videos in quite some time. And this is Trust Me, Bro, featuring Bangkok Ford, Trump, Gary Nolan, and What If I Called Your Mother a Hooker, Lou Elizondo. So I think that's all I got. We'll check in with the Kick Chat one more. Oh, so funny, no money, honey. But thank you to Tampon Blood Magic, the MVP of gifting some subs on Kick. So we've got David Wilcock and Corey Good show tomorrow. The next day I'm going to be covering Darkside Phil again against my better judgment. And then, of course, we've got the Internet Insanity Circus show on Saturday. I may do a show on Friday night still. And also, we've got the free documentary this Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please come out and support. I'd appreciate that. So that's all I got for you, friends. What I would say about these UFO whistleblowers is if you study history, none of them ever provide any evidence. Many of them promise that they're going to give you the evidence, but they never do. It's a never-ending circle jerk of nonsense and bullshittery. And, you know, even still to this day, after 953 days, people are still on Twitter going, David Grush is gonna give us the evidence, but he has to get his clearance restored or expanded before he's able to. Bullshit. He's a bullshitter just like the rest of them until he's proved. You know, I can prove you're not a bullshitter. Show the evidence. You know, I call the bluff on these bullshitters, and I think all of us should. Everybody's making tons of money on these stories, documentaries, books, but what are they really giving us? Stories. If you think their stories are worth whatever they're charging you for, you know, good. But, you know, as for me, I don't think a story is enough when you're making out of this world-changing claims like aliens are visiting us here on Earth. But that's just my opinion. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
Arrow, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. Arrow, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. Arrow, dumpster fire. Arrow, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. David Grush, dumpster fire. Arrow, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. David Grush.
For the masses. Yeah.
Gary Nolan. Arrow, Gary Nolan. Arrow found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology, a lack of any evidence. Arrow found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology, a lack of any evidence. Trust me, bro. Don't worry about the evidence. David Grush. Trust me, bro. Don't worry about the evidence. David Grush. With zero evidence.
No credible evidence thus far.
With zero evidence.
No credible evidence thus far.
Kirkpatrick's evidence. Where is Arrow's evidence? Kirkpatrick's evidence. Where is Arrow's evidence?
If I call your mother a hooker. If I call your mother a hooker. If I call your mother a hooker. Mother a hooker. If I call your mother a hooker. If I call your mother a hooker. If I call your mother a hooker. Mother a hooker.
Aliens and extraterrestrials. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
If I call your mother a hooker. Mother a hooker.
Aliens and extraterrestrials. Trust me, bro. Trust me, extraterrestrial.